To the White House now, where President Obama is meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu this afternoon. This is their first meeting in person since the United States brokered the nuclear deal with Iran. The two leaders have not seen eye to eye over that issue and have had a tense relationship over the years. Ahead of their private meeting, both men suggested that they're willing to work through their disagreements.
We'll also have a chance to talk about how implementation of the Iran nuclear agreement is going. It's no secret that the Prime Minister and I have had a strong disagreement on this narrow issue, but we don't have a disagreement on the need to making sure that Iran does not get a nuclear weapon, and we don't have a disagreement about the importance of us blunting destabilizing activities that Iran may be taking place. And so we're going to be looking to make sure that we find common ground there.
We're with each other in more ways than one, and I want to thank you for this opportunity to strengthen our friendship, which is strong, strengthen our alliance, which is strong. I think it's rooted in shared values. It's buttressed by shared interests. It's driven forward by a sense of a shared destiny.
Elliot Abrams is a senior fellow for Middle Eastern Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations in Washington, D.C., and he joins us now by phone to talk about all this. Thanks for being with us, sir.
My pleasure.
So, it doesn't sound like a whole lot of news came out of the meeting with these two, at least not news that they're sharing with members of the media. And Prime Minister Netanyahu saying, obviously, our alliance is strong. He says our friendship is strong. It seems that these guys are not really that close, are they?
No, I mean, I noticed that line, too. I guess, in diplomacy, you got to give them a little bit of slack. They're trying to bury the hatchet, and this time not in each other's backs, but really bury the hatchet and put all that behind them. There's only one more year of the Obama-Netanyahu relationship, so they're trying to make it work.
And considering their history, the fact that these two leaders are meeting at all is an important step. So I guess if we look at it beyond just diplomacy, what does it signal?
Well, for one thing, it signals that we're going into an election period in the U.S., and I think the president, as the leader of the Democratic Party, wants to get this period of bad feeling behind Democrats so that it is not an issue in next year's election.
And sir, it's interesting. The White House has signaled that the president will acknowledge very soon, I guess, that a peace agreement between the Palestinian Authority and the State of Israel is unlikely before he leaves office. So how realistic is a solution, perhaps not under this administration, but in the foreseeable future?
I would say it's not really visible in the foreseeable future, not really possible. You get a new administration, it takes them 6 or 12 months to really get going anyway. So we're talking about a few years here. And I think what Netanyahu and Obama are going to talk about now is practical things. How do we end the current violence, the stabbings? How can the Palestinian economy in the West Bank be improved? Very pragmatic steps. And then the question of U.S. military aid to Israel.
And the other interesting, sir, question is, when I've covered this conflict, I've asked young people on the streets of Jerusalem, the streets of Tel Aviv, if they want peace. A lot of young people say that they do, but the way you read it right now, it just doesn't seem that the leaders can get on the side of this. And as we continue to see the kinds of attacks that we've seen from Palestinians against Israelis, it probably doesn't seem like it's going to happen in the near future.
I think that's right, and, we're going to have a new president who's going to have to take a look at what U.S. policy should be. And on the Palestinian side, their leader, Abbas, is in his 80s. So, in the next few years, they're going to have a new leader, too. And I don't think there's going to be a deal until the new leadership is in place.
Does it seem to you that President Abbas, a lot of what we've seen lately, the tension that has arisen, is in a way to try to solidify his leadership, even though, as you point out, he's very old. But there have been allegations that he is corrupt, that he doesn't even have control over the full authority. And this seems at least as a way to maintain sort of his brand, if you will.
I think what he's trying to do is two contradictory things. In the West Bank, where he rules, he's trying to prevent violence. But in the language he uses, he's inciting violence by Palestinians against Israelis in Israel. So he's, in a sense, trying to have it both ways. I think his influence on, 18, 19-year-old Palestinians is not very great.
Elliot Abrams, thank you so much for your insight, sir. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.